Welcome, I'm Claire Shaeffer. Today we're going to look at a few of my favorite tailoring techniques. Some will be new, while others may be old favorites. I've called them secrets, but they're really well known in the haute couture industry. For full disclosure, I am the author of several books on couture and couture tailoring. Let's get started with a few design ideas. This elegant Chanel jacket is from the 1970s. The bias binding trim is the same fabric, but the wrong side. This fabric is particularly attractive on the wrong side as well as the right side. This stunning Yves Saint Laurent jacket is one of my favorites. I particularly like the placement of the plaids on the collar and lapels. Notice the center front. It's on the edge of the dominant plaid stripe. Yves Saint Laurent was known for adapting menswear techniques for women. The collar is cut with the straight grain at center back, and the back sections are cut to match the collar. This is a men's bespoke rule, and the reason you rarely alter the center back after the fabric is cut. This jacket is too short at center back because the client's shoulders are rounded. If you are fitting a figure with this problem, you must correct the pattern before you cut the fabric. One solution is to add a back yoke before the fabric is cut. This allows you to conceal a dart in the seam at each end of the yoke. A yoke is not ideal for all fabrics, but it may be the best solution for many figures. When I was visiting Richard Anderson, a Savile Row tailor one day, he asked me what was wrong with this dressing gown. I didn't know. Then he told me that the plaid is upside down. Did you know plaids have a top and bottom? This secret is from Henry Poole, another Savile Row tailor. Mark the wrong side of the fabric with white chalk, so it's easy to distinguish the right and wrong sides quickly. This is a top stitching technique from Chanel, but it isn't exclusive to Chanel. This suit is in the collection at the Museum of the City of New York. The top stitching on the collar was stitched before the collar was lined. This is not unusual because it is easier to top stitch fewer layers. And for this design, you would need different threads on the bottom and needle. This top stitching technique for the pockets is slightly different from the Chanel collar. This is the 1978 Yves Saint Laurent. The pocket was top stitched before it was sewn onto the jacket. In couture, pockets are assembled with wrong sides together. The pocket is interfaced. The seams and hem are wrapped around the interfacing. You can top stitch the pocket before or after the lining is sewn in place. Yes, there's a lot of handwork, but you'll be pleased with the results. Here is the inside of the jacket after the pocket was sewn on. 2 rows of cross stitches were used to sew it permanently. These pockets were used a lot and never had a repair. Before we leave this pocket, notice that it stands away from the jacket. At the opening, the pocket is 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch wider than the body of the jacket. The balanced dart is another secret I learned from this Yves Saint Laurent jacket. The dart is too narrow to be pressed open, so a strip of bias interfacing was sewn to the dart. Then the dart was pressed in one direction and the interfacing in the opposite direction. On the right side of the jacket, the dart is smooth without a ridge at the stitching line. The tailoress at Richard Anderson pinned a strip of self fabric in place to balance the dart. The stitching line is marked with chalk. If you're not comfortable with it being pinned, you can always baste. Notice the small triangle at the lapel point. The pad stitches in the triangle are shorter and closer together, so the lapel point will not roll up. There are knots on the pad stitching. Some tailors don't use knots. Your choice. I frequently use this technique for taming corners. After the seams are pressed and trimmed, I fold the seam allowances one at a time and sew them flat so they will not rumple when I turn the corner right side out. This is a LaChasse jacket from the 1940s. The tailor at Hardy Amy's told me that Her Majesty the Queen liked this detail. Add a small piping without cording in a contrast color between the facing and lining. After the facing is sewn to the front, sew the piping in place with running stitches. Then finish the lining with felt stitches or slip stitches, whichever you do better. Buttons which don't button on a double-breasted jacket frequently droop like the ones on this Valentino jacket. Here is a hint to correct drooping buttons. I learned this from a Savile Row tailoress at Huntsman, and you can see her working on a jacket. Make a hole with an awl and insert the button shank from the right side. Thread a narrow piece of lining or tape through the button shank. Sew the ends of the lining together and trim away the excess. This secret focuses on shaping the sleeve caps. Do this before setting them into the jacket. Put a row of short ease basting stitches just inside the seam line. If you can't make really short stitches by hand, use a sewing machine. I lighten the needle tension slightly and use a regular stitch length. When you use a long stitch, you frequently get small pleats. Pull up the ease basting, pin the sleeve to a sleeve board or pressing hand with the wrong side up. Dampen the sleeve cap with a dabber or sponge. Press to remove the excess fullness. I press over the ease basting about 1 inch into the cap, but I've seen them pressed as much as 2 inches into the cap. Repeat moisture and pressing as needed until you get a nicely shaped cap. If you're not going to set the sleeves immediately, stuff them with tissue so they will hold their shape. This Yves Saint Laurent jacket is from the 1980s. The interfacing supports the sleeve caps so they don't collapse at the top of the arm. I prefer bias cut interfacings. The interfacing here extends to the bottom of the armhole, but it can be as short as midway the armhole or extend about 1 inch below the arm side. The sleeve head here is lamb's wool, which is very difficult to find now. I've used this interfacing in dressmaking as well as in tailoring so that the sleeves look better. I've shown you this Balenciaga jacket before, but the collar construction is so unique and so easy that it's a secret that I must share again, and I'll probably show it to you again another time as well. The collar begins with wrong sides together, then the edges and corners are finished. Isn't this easier than sewing it right sides together and turning it right sides out? We're at the end of our tailoring secrets today. I hope you've enjoyed them. If you're not a member of my channel, please join and come back another day. I look forward to seeing you then.